Hello and welcome to this video on Zapier Agents. I think Zapier Agents is one of the most intuitive, user-friendly, accessible agent interfaces I've tried. When it works, it's absolutely mind-blowing and I think is a real insight into the future of what working with AI agents is going to be like. With that said, not everything in this tutorial goes smoothly, and in fact we come across quite a few problems. But rather than edit them out and give you an impression that everything runs smoothly every time, I wanted to show all the issues we encountered as well. Because I don't know about you, but I'm tired of seeing all these videos that say you can make 10K a month if you do this simple agent flow, or automate your entire life if you build this agent. My experience of AI agents and AI in general is that it quite often doesn't work, and that it often comes across errors that it can't fix itself and you have to help it or you have to make concessions for it. And I think giving the impression that everything works first time and you can rely on it to automate your entire life is telling a lie, really. At this point in time, I think it's more interesting to look at the technology as it is, understand that it's developing very quickly, and use it as a view to what it could be in the future. So with that said, I think there's loads of stuff to be taken away from this look at Zapier Agents. I'm sure by the time you watch this video, they will be completely different and they may be way more reliable. And I encourage you to, whenever you watch this video, to go and try it out yourself and see what you think, form your own opinions, do your own tests. You don't have to believe all the hype, but you can definitely allow yourself to get a little bit excited about the stuff we're about to see. So the first thing you're going to need to do is go to zapier.com and log in or create an account if you don't already have one. Once you're in, you'll be taken to your dashboard, which looks something like this. Now, if you're not familiar with Zapier, it is a very powerful automation platform which allows you to plug together all of the different apps you use across the internet and get them to send data between each other. So here is a very simple example of a Zapier automation which I actually use. So I have a product which sells on a platform called Gumroad. However, the product is a course which is hosted on another platform called Podia. So previously, before I used Zapier, if someone bought my product on Gumroad, I would then have to manually get their email address from the email notification, go over to Podia and enroll them on the course so that they could have access to the material. I am also splitting the revenue from that sale with someone else. So I had to add the information about that sale to a Google Sheet, and then I had to notify my friend that there had been another sale. So all of that was a bit of a manual process, and it wasn't the best user experience for the person buying the course, because when they purchased it, if it was the middle of the night for me and I was asleep, I wouldn't be able to add them to the product until the morning. So thanks to Zapier, I was able to build this simple automation which simply says, if there is a sale in my Gumroad account, sign that person up for Podia. So it takes the email address that it got from Gumroad and it signs them up. Create a new spreadsheet row in Google Sheets and it pulls the information from Gumroad to do that, and then send a direct message in Slack to the two of us to let us know there has been another sale of our course. So once I've created this automation and tested it a few times, I can then just switch it on and leave it running in the background, and from then on all of this stuff will happen automatically and almost instantaneously. Now, as you can see, this type of automation is very linear. It follows a specific path and it does the same steps every time. And this is fantastic if you have a very rigid process which needs to be followed in the same way every time it's done. However, what if you have a process which is a bit more ambiguous than this? It might have different inputs, it might have decisions that need to be made along the way, and different things can happen. Well, that's where Zapier Agents come in. So back on our dashboard, click on Agents on the left-hand side. In the sidebar menu, click New Agent. And here we can see we can create a custom agent from scratch, or we can use a template. So just to give you a quick overview of what an agent looks like, I'm going to choose one of these template agents. Let's try the Gmail event creator. And the first thing it wants us to do is connect our apps. So I'm connecting my Gmail account and allowing Zapier to access it. And it also wants to know what Google Calendar account I'm going to use. So I'm going to connect a new account and allow Zapier to access it. So now I've connected a Gmail account and a calendar account. I can click create. So now we can see what this agent actually does. So we can see that there is a trigger here that says schedule by Zapier every day. So that means once a day. And if we click into the settings icon here, we can see the time of day is going to trigger this. So every day at 9 a.m, this agent is going to be triggered. And then we can see the instructions it's been given. So step 1, retrieve all emails in your inbox from the past 24 hours using this action here. So we again click on the settings here, we can see exactly what this action does. So it's linked up to the Gmail account I connected, And these parts here are where Zapier agents really stand apart from the normal Zapier automations, because instead of us needing to define a specific value for the search string and what to do if no search results are found, we can just leave it as let your agent generate a value for this field. So that means the AI is going to decide what it needs to put into this field. And you will see this all across Zapier agents. You always have the option to let your agent decide what to put in any of the parameters. So compared to a normal Zapier automation where you have to very carefully select all of the values for all of the fields, for all of the actions in your workflow, Zapier agents is completely different because you can allow the AI to choose the best values to put into those fields. So then step 2 is for each email, assess whether an event needs to be scheduled. And then step 3 is if an event should be created, use Google Calendar, create detailed events. So we can again click on the settings here and we can see it's just linked to the Google Calendar account. And for choosing the calendar, the summary, description, location, add conferencing, all of these things, we can just say let your agent select a value for this field. Now, of course, if you did specifically want it to always choose a specific calendar, then you can set a specific value for that field like that. And in some cases you may want to do that because you just want to take away one extra decision point from the AI because you know you always want that thing. But for anything that you want to leave ambiguous, you can let the agent decide. And then it will generate a Google Calendar event with the following details: event name, date and time, relevant participants extracted from the email. So now we can actually test this agent workflow. So I have already sent 2 emails to this email account. One to say, can we meet on Thursday, March 8th at 9 a.m. on Zoom? And one to say, let's have lunch day on Friday at 12 p.m. at Costa Coffee. So if we click test behavior, we can run the workflow immediately. So after about 30 seconds, and we're partway through the agent running its flow, you can see here it said I'll start by searching emails from the past 24 hours in your inbox, and you can actually click in to see the details of the inbox it's looking at and what it's finding. Then you can see it said I found 2 emails that need scheduling: a lunch meeting this Friday and a Zoom meeting next Thursday. I'll create both calendar events now. So now it's running Google Calendar create detailed event, and then it does that again. So you can click into these at any time and you can see the details of the thing that it's putting into the Google Calendar, and then it tells you what it's done. So it says I have completed the tasks, I found 2 events, and I've scheduled a lunch meeting this Friday and a Zoom meeting next Thursday. And so now if I go to my calendar, you can see here that it has actually scheduled a lunch meeting at noon on Thursday at Costa Coffee in Gatwick Airport. And then on Saturday at 9 a.m, it has scheduled a Zoom meeting. And it has added the person who originally sent the meeting request email as a guest on both of the events. Now, you may have noticed that I actually said, can we meet Thursday, the March the 8th at 9 a.m. on Zoom? I was wrong. It was the 6th that it should have been. So it has just chosen the 8th and ignored the Thursday. So it has just chosen to follow my date rather than the day I gave, and it has put it on the Saturday, which is absolutely fine. And because it was an AI doing this, it was able to make a choice when there was some ambiguity, which if you had a really set flow, it may have just completely failed because I gave bad instructions. So going back to the agent designer here, if I want to switch this on so it runs every day, I just simply need to turn it on like that, and then I can close that. So then I have a choice now to chat with my event creator agent and get it to run immediately, or I can just leave it switched on and it will run every day at 9 a.m. So now let's try creating our own custom agent. So go to new agent and we are going to create a custom agent, and I'm going to call this restaurant booking agent. And in this case, I want it to solve a real life problem for me. I have a friend who manages the bookings for a restaurant, and she does it all in a spreadsheet which looks very similar to this. She simply creates a new row in the spreadsheet whenever there is a booking, and she'll put the day, the date, the time, the name of the person, the number of people who are coming with them, their contact phone number, email address, the room they want to be in, special requirements, who took the booking, and any notes. The restaurant, of course, has a limited number of tables, so she has to be aware of the total number of bookings at any one time in the restaurant. So she receives a booking email, she looks at this spreadsheet to see if there is availability. If there is, she will write it into the sheet and reply to the person to say that booking is confirmed. If there is no availability, she will reply to them to say there isn't any availability, and maybe she will give them some alternative times. She also has a Google Doc here with some template replies, which she just copies and pastes into the email and then changes the data for the appropriate information. So I'm going to see if I can build a Zapier agent to do all of this for her. So the first thing I'm going to do is go to configure our restaurant booking agent. Now you have the option here to add data sources, which is real-time data this agent has access to. So in this case, I want to add the Google Sheet, which is the booking sheet. So I'm going to select the restaurant booking spreadsheet, and sheet 1 is the correct one. So I'm going to add that data source. And then I'm going to add the Google Doc, which contains the template replies. And next I'm going to click Create Behavior. And this is where we define what the agent is going to do. But the really cool thing about this is the way you write it is in plain English, just as if you were writing instructions for a new member of staff. So the first thing I want to define is, when is this triggered? I want it to be triggered when a new email is received. So I'm going to search for Gmail and scroll down until I see new email. And then I'm going to make sure I have the right account connected, and then I'm going to click Save. So here I've written the instructions for my agent. I've said, when a new email is received asking for a booking, check the booking spreadsheet for the date and time mentioned in the email. The restaurant only has 2 tables available at any one time. Obviously in real life they have more tables than that, but I just wanted to test it out to see if it can handle availability. So if there is availability, insert a new row into the spreadsheet and complete as many columns as you have data for. Follow the exact same formatting as all existing rows. Then send an email reply to the original sender confirming the booking. If there is no availability, reply to the email and offer some alternative available slots. Where appropriate, adapt one of the template replies from this document. For all emails which do not contain a booking request, reply to say you are copying in a manager to deal with a question and CC Kieran@nocodelive.com. Always be polite and courteous in your interactions. So once I've written these plain English instructions, I need to insert data and actions into this. Theoretically, at some point in the future, it might be that you could just type this and let the agent go and it would do everything you're saying. But at this point in time, you need to be a bit more specific. And that means inserting data and actions into these instructions so that the AI knows exactly what it's meant to be doing. So I know it already has access to the booking spreadsheet, but I'm going to insert that in here anyway. And here where I've said insert a new row into the spreadsheet, I'm going to insert action, and I'm going to go to Sheets, Google Sheets, and then create spreadsheet row. And I'm going to do the settings here. So rather than let the AI select all the values for this, I think if you know specifically what sheet you want it to be using, you may as well specify it just to minimize the chance for error. So I'm going to select my Google Drive, and I'm going to choose the spreadsheet from the list. And I'm going to choose the worksheet. All the other columns, day, date, time, name, covers, etc., I'm going to let the agent do that. And that is where you can see it's really saving a lot of time versus having to set this up field by field as you would have to do with a normal Zap. So I'm going to save that. And then it says then send an email reply to the original sender confirming the booking. And now I'm going to insert an action here and get Gmail. And I'm going to use reply to email. So make sure it's the right Gmail account. And then because the thread is going to be different every time, we're going to let our AI select the value for this. The same for who it's being sent to. And then we could add a CC that every time it is CC'd into a human so that they can check all the emails. Or you can go down and you can say, do not include a value for this field if you don't want the risk that the agent's going to put something in there. So the rest of it, I'm just going to let the agent choose what to put in there. And then here where we've said that if there is no availability, reply to the email and offer some alternative available slots, I am going to again add this Gmail reply to email action. And I'm just going to leave it like that. And the reason I'm adding it in there again is just because through experimentation, I have realized that the more prescriptive you are about the accounts it should use, who it's replying to and all these things, the more consistent the results are. I did have one situation where it started replying to its own email address and I told it to reply with a joke every time it receives an email that doesn't contain a booking. And I actually got stuck in an infinite loop of emails where it was just replying to itself with jokes. all terrible. So you don't want that to happen. And then for this bit, where appropriate, adapt one of the template replies from this document. I'm going to insert data and link to the template replies. And then again here, I'm going to insert the Gmail reply to email action. And once I'm done with that, so this is all set up now, I'm going to click save. Now, once you've saved it, you can either test the behavior here, which is a chat interface, and you can actually simulate the trigger. So even if you don't have any new emails, you can say, pretend I've just received an email that says this or that, and it will run through as if you had received a real email. So that's really useful for testing. But in our case, I'm just going to switch it on, and I'm going to send a real email asking to book, and let's see what happens. If you're enjoying this video, we'd be super grateful if you could give it a like and also subscribe to our channel, where we're going to be doing loads of really cool AI and no-code tutorials to help non-technical people like you and me to build cool stuff on the internet. Right, so I have sent 3 emails to the booking email address. One was saying, please can I book a table for Wednesday, 19th of March, 12 p.m. for 5 people. My name is Robert Preston. We have one nut allergy, and then phone number. The next one was, can I book a table for 6 on Sunday the 16th of March? Now for this one, I purposefully chose a time when in here I could see we already have 2 bookings at that time. So I wanted to test to see if it's going to say we don't have space. And then the third one is just, hi, do you have a gluten-free menu? So that doesn't have a booking mentioned in it. So hopefully it will reply and copy in a manager. So when you go back to your agent and click here on the 3 dots and click view activity, you should be able to see all of the activities that he's taking at that moment. However, I have been waiting for a few minutes and I have not yet seen anything start. So for some reason it doesn't seem to be running. So I'm going to just click configure and click back on here and run it this way. So I've had to run it manually, but you can see here that it has found a new email and it's checking the restaurant booking spreadsheet to see if we have availability for Wednesday, March 19th at 12 p.m. So you can see now it has found that we have availability at that date and time. So it's adding the booking to the system, creating a spreadsheet row, and then it's going to send a confirmation email. So now I can see it says it has added the booking to the system. So I can go to the spreadsheet and let's have a look. Down at the bottom, we've got Wednesday, March 19th, 2025, 12 p.m, Robert Preston. 5 people, got the phone number, got the email address, and it has noted nut allergy. So that's all worked really well. It hasn't quite matched the formatting of the date there. And I've noticed this issue before. It has trouble with formatting the dates. Perhaps you have to be very specific about how it needs to format the date. But everything else it seems to have done more or less okay. And you can see here that it has looked in the template replies collection, retrieved all the content, and then it has sent a reply to the person who booked. But upon looking in my email, I did not receive a response. So I looked in here and I could see that actually it has correctly sent from restaurant management, but it has sent it to robert.preston@example.com. So it has got, the AI has filled in the wrong email address there. But on the plus side, it has definitely written a really good email. I'm pretty sure it has taken this. Yeah, thanks so much for your inquiry regarding booking your get-together. So it's taken the template response from the document and it has adapted it to say 12 p.m. March 19th. And yeah, it's done a really good job. The only thing it has messed up is the email that it's supposed to reply to. So what we can do is we can go in here and we can be a bit more explicit. Send an email reply to the original sender's email address, the one the original email came from. Hopefully that will be more clear. Okay, I'm going to save that and then I'm going to ask it to, let's retest the behavior. So let's see if it finds the next email now we're retesting. And I should say that when I've been trying this out, it has worked fine. It does work automatically normally. I'm not sure why it is not triggering in the way it should trigger. So in this example, it's found the email with the question about gluten-free menu, so no booking in there, and it has looked in the template replies to see if it could find anything about gluten-free. Hasn't found anything. So it says, I'll send a reply to the inquiry about gluten-free menu and copy in a manager. And it looks like it's getting an error. So if we open this, we can see what's happening. 1, 2 CC. Okay, so it seems to be struggling with filling in the to address on the email. And that might be because it just doesn't understand what I said here. So I'm having trouble sending the email reply. Please reply to the person who sent the original inquiry. So you can see it couldn't do something, so it tried it again and again, and then it's actually asked me how to do it, which is pretty cool. And it does feel like you're dealing with a real member of staff. So it's asked again how it should send it. So I'm going to say the to address should be Kieran createwith.com. So I can't actually figure out a way to make this work. It seems to be getting stuck on the same thing, which is who it should be sending the email to. Now, if I look in here where it says reply to the email, or even this one here, reply to the email, it is the agent is finding the thread, which is the one the original email came from, and then it's generating the value for the to. The only other options I have here is to not include a value, which I don't want, or set a specific value, but then it wants me to enter a value. I can't like dynamically refer to the email address that triggered it in the first place. So the only option I have really is to let that agent generate the value for that field. So if I can't get it to work, it could just be a case of I've written this badly, I've written the instructions badly, so it can't understand. But I wasn't able to get it to understand here, so I'm not going to pursue this. But it was definitely trying to do the right thing. It was trying to send a reply to the person who sent the email, and it was trying to CC a manager in because I'd asked a question which was not related to a booking. So it was almost all of the way there. So finally what I did was I resent the other email to the email address, which is the one where it says, where it's asking for a slot, which I know there is no availability because I've only got 2 tables. So I'm going to retest the behavior and see if it can pull that email. Now I did actually try disconnecting the Gmail and reconnecting it to see if I could get it to trigger automatically, but it still wasn't working. So I'm just having to do it in this test mode now to see what it does. So I'm retesting it now. I've resent the email to the inbox. I've also cleared out all the other emails to stop it getting confused, just so we can test this one function. Can it check to see if there is any availability and decide that there isn't availability because we know that there isn't, and then send the right reply. So it's actually realized that we are fully booked on Sunday, the March 16th at 12 p.m. And it's taken into account the fact I said here, the restaurant only has 2 tables available at any one time. So it is paying attention to the instructions I wrote here. And then you can see here it did analysis to find out which time slots have fewer than 2 bookings, 0 or 1 booking on that same day. And then it has searched in the template replies to see if it could find one that suited this use case. And then it's sending a email reply to offer alternative time slots. And now finally it says, I've checked the availability, found both tables were already booked. I've sent a reply email to the customer offering several alternative time slots available on the same day. So let's have a look at our inbox. And we can see here that we have an email. Good afternoon, Sally. Thanks so much for your inquiry regarding your booking. Unfortunately, we're fully booked. We do have the following alternative slots available on the same day. It's given a list of slots. If any of them work for you, let us know. So let's see if this is from the template reply. You're more than welcome to come as a walk-in. Okay, yeah, so it has looked at the templates and it has used that to draft us a reply. So if I go to my other email and I try replying to that, and I'm just going to say 8 p.m. please. And I'm probably pushing my luck here because I know that it's not automatically triggering on these new emails, but I'd be interested to see if it does work. So again, unfortunately, it did not register, it did not trigger automatically from that reply. And when I try and test it, it is not getting the right email. It's getting the original email again. But I did not want this to be one of those tutorials that you often see online, which is kind of saying, look, if you just follow these steps, everything works amazingly. I wanted it to be a realistic look at the state of AI agents in 2025. I'm sure this stuff is going to improve greatly, but I really think the Zapier interface is a really good insight into how natural these interfaces can be. The fact that you can just type instructions like this in plain English, you don't have to be worrying about dragging nodes on and having paths and setting everything up and linking up all the fields. You can literally tell it in plain English, just as if you were giving instructions to a member of staff who is taking over a job, and they will follow the instructions. They will use their own initiative. They will update multiple systems. They will reply to people. Like the possibilities are huge, and I really think that Zapier has nailed it with this interface. And yes, we have encountered some problems. So personally, I would be a bit nervous about using this for a real restaurant booking in its current state. Perhaps it's something that I did wrong, or perhaps it's just something wrong with the system at the moment. I don't know. Certainly, there were some inconsistencies with the way that AI was like selecting who to reply to, and it seemed to get stuck in a loop at some points. Definitely, this is not as predictable and consistent and reliable as a straightforward Zapier automation where it just follows this process one by one. And I know from experience that those are pretty reliable. They can just work day in, day out for years without breaking. Something like this where you have the AI making decisions for you, there are going to be situations where it just can't find the right thing to do, and then it fails. But overall, I think it's really impressive, and I just love this interface and the way it works. The way you can link up data sources and actions along with your own plain text instructions, I think is just a really interesting concept, and by far the most accessible AI agent I've come across. So I hope this has been interesting to you. Let me know if you've had any experience with Zapier agents or any other agent systems in the comments.